Hello everyone and welcome to the AOR Split 2 Bahrain Grand Prix with my co-commentators Beyond and Onage.
Hello there.
Hey guys.
So here we go, we've got 4 tower options or choices, the mediums, hard, inters and wets. I highly doubt we'll be needing the second two, the inters and wets, as it's like never rained around here. 15 turns, 1.4 kilometers, 29 laps. It should be a good race. Beyond, how do you think it's going to pan out?
It's going to pan out really well. I think there's a good chance for some good overtaking. Long DRS straight. You know, anything can happen in this race, and the tyre was really good. So interesting to see how the tyre strategies go for this race. It's going to be interesting.
Of course, we had no Season 7 podium or pole because we didn't race here, because the game wasn't finished. Anyway, the previous race winner was DH1806. Let's see if he can improve on that today and get another win. Anyway, we're now going to go to Justin for the qualifying report.
This week's side-by-side comparison once again features Casimir in the Williams and the Red Bull of F1 LS Monster. Both cars topping out just under 200 miles per hour with DRS open as they break around the 100-meter board and down to first gear for turn 1. Both drivers take the corner nicely and do their best to get the power down as quickly as they can for turn 2, taking lots of inside curb to get the best line through. Both drivers then using some curves to help power them down the straight towards the popular overtaking location of turn 4, with Monster using a bit more of the track than Casimir. At the split, we can see that Casimir is currently up, but only by less than half a tenth. Turn 6 isn't much more than a flick of the wheel and a downshift to 4th gear, being careful not to run out wide in order to get the best line through turn 7. Braking hard down the hill for the hairpin of turn 8, Monster misses his apex ever so slightly, and the two drivers begin to climb the hill towards turn 9. Turns 9 and 10 are among the most difficult corners on the calendar, and Monster uses lots of inside curb to get the best exit for the run down the first DRS straight. Both drivers using some curves in addition to the DRS and braking at about the 50-meter board and shifting down to 3rd gear, letting the car run out wide before going full throttle up the hill. At the second split, we can see that the drivers are still separated by less than half a tenth. Turn 12 is flat out, but the braking for turn 13 can be difficult and hard to spot, but neither driver seems to struggle. Monster using some curves as they exit turn 13 to help power him down the back straight towards the final corner. They're going to be braking between the 50 and 100 meter boards and down into 2nd gear and being extra cautious of the curbing at the exit of the corner before draining any remaining curves for the run down to the line. In the end, Casimir found another tenth of a second in Sector 3 and grabs pole position ahead of reserve driver Peter Berryman in P2. Row 2 is the Caterham of DH1806, DH1806, and the Red Bull of F1 LS Monster. Row 3 is Silver Arrow in the Ferrari and Zephyr in the Toro Rosso. Row 4 is the other Caterham of Zomacher and another reserve driver, Desanya. The top 10 is rounded out by Peck F1 in the other Williams and Matuz in the other Toro Rosso, with MP Racing, Kiku, Hamish, Tarkan, Sorbetto, and Artos bringing up the rear.
It's the Bahrain Grand Prix with your commentators Hamish, Onage and Beyond. We've got 0% chance of rain, of course, as the drivers line up with Peck. So Beyond, who do you think is going to look hot for the win today?
Well, Charles on pole, you can't put him down. He's a fast racer, and away we go. On board now with Desanya and the Mercedes, following up closer behind Zephyr. He's going to look for a slipstream. No, he's going out with a slipstream. Zomac with a great start there on board with Peck. Ooh, massive shunt there. I don't know if that was lag, but this game is filled with problems. It's interesting to see what do you think Onish on that start.
Yeah, the drivers now heading into turn 4. Obviously, Peck had a huge crash down into 15th place, but Kiku managed to have even a worse start in 16th place as Daisenia takes 2 people around the inside of that corner. Beautiful move by him. As we go through the next couple of corners here on board with Peter. He's behind Chess, so Chess is still in the lead. Had a very good start, I guess. He's already 6 tenths up on the rest as we join Silver Arrow now. Coming up to the very tricky 2 corners, corners 9 and 10. They are really tricky to get a braking right here, so let's see how the drivers cope with this. Seems like it's going pretty well. Sapphire hit a ball there slightly. So, Hamish, we get back to you.
Yeah, so 9 and 10, of course, like you said, Onage, very tough corners, especially with heavy fuel, so easy to lock up. so a lot of drivers will be planning their brake strategy in qualifying for the race, not necessarily for qualifying. Anyway, on board with Peck, he's behind Tarkin and Hamish. Let's see if he can get any moves done. Tarkin's going on the inside, trying to move on Hamish, and Tarkin's pushed Hamish wide, and that's gifted Peck 2 positions up into 13th now. Let's see if he can improve on his starting position. Anyway, behind with Zephyr going very wide there, almost auto spin curve, and we've got Zomaker bizarrely in the Caterham starting solo down. That's not normally like him. You normally see him on the front row really when it comes to qualifying, going into the first corner, no one locking up, so clean so far for lap 2.
Yeah, it's looking very interesting. Interesting to see there's a reserve driver, I think, by second on the grid, so I mean that's really good. Driver on that reserve driver, he's probably going to be looking for a full seat, and that's really good to see the competitions coming through. Peck looking to gain more places after that horrific start, really. I don't know, maybe a lag tab, who knows, but he's down in 14th there, looking to get on Hamish. Zomaker going horribly off the track there. And Desinia's gifted that position. He's still off the track. Has he lost his front wing there? I'm not sure. But, and as soon as I say that, Peter Berryman, the reserve driver, has just taken the lead from Chaz. Again, a newbie to the race. He's looking really good and really strong at the early beginnings of this race. What do you think, Onage, on the start?
Well, we're going back with Chaz here, sorry, not back, Chaz. But you saw there the corners where I was talking about before, 9 and 10, they are so tricky to get right, and I think Chaz slightly outbraked himself there, giving Peter the opportunity to pass him as we get back to silver. It seems like there's quite a big gap coming up between places 4 and 5 with Zephyr and Silver Arrow, as Chaz gives a slight nudge to Peter Berryman, slight leg contact I guess, but nothing too serious. Luckily Peter can still keep the car on the track, as Chaz has a beautiful amount of slipstream here. It seems like Peter has used quite a bit of curse actually off the line, because Chaz hasn't got a slipstream yet to pass him at the speed. And oh, look at that, a big spin, and 2 drivers profiting from that, as Chaz really rejoiced. The track goes ghosting there, and this is going to cause quite a bit of chaos, I think.
That's complete carnage there on that turn. Sorry to cut in, Hamish, but that was complete carnage. No idea why Chaz has to rejoin the track like that, but thank God he ghosted there. That would have been a very bad mess.
Yeah, I thought that'd just be funny to include Peck pressing the pause button, no idea why. But yeah, anyway, so back on board with Chaz, who's dropped from 2nd to 11th. Very unfortunate. I think Chaz just turned in just a tiny bit too much, and unfortunately side pod played a part in it, and anyway, that's means DH and Silver move up into the sort of podium positions, or the higher end of podium positions, as at least Silver has actually got himself into the podium. Anyway, on board with Dysenia behind F1 LS Monster. He's going to get a good exit, I think, and I'd only say he's not really closing in on F1 LS Monster. Anyway, we've got Peck going to try move around the outside of Artos, and is he going to get auto brake? Yes, he does. Very unfortunate for him, and it looks like Tarkin's fancies himself a move as well, and Peck's got auto spinned, and I think Tarkin just nudged him. Nothing Tarkin could do, but very unfortunate.
Yeah, well, these curves, they're very difficult on this track. Just gotta be easing on them. It just shows you just hit them a little bit too much and they'll spin you out, and Tarkin had nowhere to go really. You're not going to do much when the car comes across you like that. And on board with Silver, Zephyr sets the fastest lap time. Trying to take Silver, he wants to get past him as quick. Silver, obviously the defending world champion, as Peck comes in for a pit stop. What tyres is he going on? And a new front wing, obviously.
Yeah,
the prime tyres. He's going to go for a long stint. Try and get some more places back. 5.6 pit stop there for him, not too bad. But yeah, like I was saying, Silver, obviously defending champion, he's looking to get on back on with the wins. He's not been the fastest at the moment at the start of his season, so he wants to get on back with a win. And sitting in 3rd position at the moment isn't too bad, but interesting to see what the end result's going to be. As Zephyr's just still on his rear gearbox there. He's trying to take it now on this corner, but he's just too far behind. You'll have to wait until the next long DRS straight. What do you think, Onage?
I think this next couple of laps will be very interesting for Silver Arrow. I mean, the pit stop's coming up soon. He's gonna have to pump in a good couple of laps here in order to close down the gap, which he currently has to the leaders. And if we can close that gap, he will have DRS as well, which will definitely help him to defend against Zephyr behind him. But coming back on Chaz, I'm looking forward to see if he can make his move, if he can move back up to the field. As we go to the leader now, who is under threat by DH. And DH, look at that, outbraking him around the outside of the first corner. DH runs slightly wider as they enter turn 2. Peter has to stick it around the outside. Plenty of room given here by both drivers, and I actually moved nicely done, but where's Peter gone?
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I was quite Hampton-Rosberg-esque, so good to see that the drivers are making some good moves and stuff, especially down to that first corner. But yeah, I'm not sure where DH gone. He must have had an auto spin curb, as pretty much everyone on the track now has probably got auto spin curbed at least once. And it's only lap 5 anyway on board with DH. He's actually managed to overtake F1 LS Monster now, so a good job from him. And he's up into 4th. He's also a reserve driver, and unless my knowledge doesn't serve me correctly, I think he finished 3rd in the last race. And oh dear, that's Peck going off again. Oh, he's broken his front wing again. So yeah, very unfortunate for Peck. This is not the start he wanted to his Grand Prix.
Interesting to see a lot of people there coming in for their first pit stop now. I think they give you lap 9, I think, is the first pit stop they want you to come in, but I mean, this game, the tyre wear is a little bit strange. It looks as though people are looking for undercuts and trying to hold on positions as you see Tsinya coming out. And just straight away looking to take over Artos, but Artos is still keeping that line. Good defending. Oh, Zephyr there pops up and displaces Artos right there. Tarkin there just is off the track and it's easy pickings there. Interesting battle that could form between these three. It'd be looking good. Although Artos yet to pit, so I guess he'll be back at the back of the grid. But interesting to see as we turn to this turn 9. They all take it very cautiously. Apart from Artos, who
Senni has the undercut here, opens up the DRS, gets that move done. So nicely done. I think Artos has a slight problem with his tires. Obviously, all these guys have pitted, fresh set of tires, which definitely makes a huge difference. So we go back to Silva now, losing a bit of, well, not really losing, but I think he's slightly slower than Peter at this stage, as both guys pit, the leader and Silver as well. So let's see how their pit stop goes.
Thanks.
Seems pretty good, 3.1 seconds from Silver. Nothing strange here happens, so let's see where they rejoin as we go back with Pack. And he still keeps it on track. Last lap he obviously spun it there. So here comes Dysenia over the start finish line. Let's see if we can see Silver Arrow out of the pits or the leader, Peter. I don't think so.
It seems Chaz is making his way through the field as well. I think he was up into 10th or 9th. I can't remember this. Sorry, there's Silver there.
I think I saw him in 8th.
Oh, it was 8th?
I think so.
My bad, I think. But it looks as if he's coming through the field nicely. Silver there behind Kiku, obviously his teammate. So, I mean, Kiku is a little bit, he desperately needs to pit, I think. So, I would be interested to see if Silver goes past Kiku very easily at this next DRS straight. That's Dysenia and Zephyr still battle on. Again, this turn 9, very tricky to lock up here. Oh, there's Peter there, he's come out in second. So Silver lost one position there to Kiku. But like I said, they're teammates and I would have expected Kiku to move outside. What would you say about that, Hamish?
Yeah, especially on the older tyres. Actually, I think Kiku went for more tactically. He qualified on the options, but he's starting on the primes, I think. So he's probably going to take his tyres till about lap 12, I'm guessing, 11, 12. I think he's probably going to come in for an option stint. Anyway, we see Dysenia going purple, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him getting fastest lap. And very nice there from Kiku, just letting Silver past, but he goes completely off the track in doing so. So yeah, anyway, we're on board with Dysenia. He sets a fastest lap by a couple of attempts, so well done to him. On board now with Peter and Sorberto, who hasn't pitted, but still he is quite a long way ahead. and it looks like Peter's screen didn't update, as we actually see Sorberto coming out of the pits now, or is in the pits. So yeah, on board with Daisenio again. He's behind Zephyr, who's gone wide. He's going to get a run possibly, coming into sort of 8, 9 and 10. And yeah.
It's interesting shaping up this midfield battle. Obviously they want to be fighting for podiums, but it's very interesting, this midfield battle, how it's going to play out for the front runners. I mean, there might be some fast guys here. Oh my.
Watch Jess. Watch Jess.
That's an extreme break. And now Chaz there coming behind. That's right, Onage. Looking at the inside there.
Jess just set the fast lap as well, so he's definitely on the charge. I think he has a better pace than the leader at this stage, although we might see Peter improving the fastest lap, as we see the Senia going side by side with Chaz, that is. So there we go, Chaz round the outside there of corner 13, I think that is. Nicely done by him. Good job.
That's a very nice move there.
Yeah, good move there by Chaz, around the outside, so he got a shocking first couple of laps. However, he's definitely making up for that. It's now a possible podium is now on the sights for Chaz, so he definitely has a pace anyway. Is Daisenio going to take him up on the outside into turn 1, and the move's pretty much done, but is Chaz going to cut inside? And yes, he is neck and neck. However, I don't think he quite has the exits he needs. Still really close between these two drivers, and I think that move done there for Daisenio, so it'll be interesting if Chaz can overtake Daisenio again at some point. Anyway, he's going to be wanting to hunt Zephyr down now and try and get up into 5th, and so he can get 10 points. However, he is a reserve, so those points don't really count. But still, very good to see Daisenio battling anyway. On board with Silver, he's I think he's closed in the gap now to Peter. We'll have to have a look when we next cut him, see what the gap actually is.
It's very good there. I noticed that Kiku obviously hasn't pitted yet, but he did a very good job holding up Zephyr there. So you know, he's making more mistakes. You know, teammates holding other competitors is really going to help Silver have a chance. I mean, Silver at the moment at the early start of the season doesn't have much pace, and that's going to help him in the long run. I see Peck still down in 14th, not gaining much ground. We saw him take 2 cars, I think, on one of the early laps, but he's just still behind Ardos. Oh yeah, that gap does come down. It's 1.1 now, so he'll be looking to close in a little bit more, get DRS, and start challenging for their top spot. Oh, Peter just gifted first position to Silver without breaking himself there. And he's definitely out of DRS on there as well, so he can't fight back. He's going to have to fight back really hard to get that. As Destiny's still behind Zephyr and Chaz. Again, what's the gap between him? Chaz is, I don't know if his tyres have fallen off or something, I'm not sure, but that's a big gap since we last seen him. Who was right behind him at one point. I think Chaz, whoa, massive oversteer. It's shaping up very well with Chaz. Chaz has got the pace, but I just don't think he's got the consistency right now, Onage.
Yeah, I don't know. It might have been the case that Chaz made a mistake. We have to look on that in the next couple of laps if his pace will improve. But meanwhile, Silver Arrow creating a gap to Peter, and Silver Arrow did actually a 32.8, and Peter has done a 33.1. So Silver Arrow, I think he has the pace here on Peter. At least with the fastest laps, but we obviously have to see if Silver Arrow is obviously quicker as well in the long run in the stint. So going back with Daisenio, who is just about in the DRS range of Zephyr in front, and Chess behind. So let's keep an eye out on that gap. If Chess is a bit quicker. I mean, we know that Chess has a good pace, started from pole position. As we go back with Peter, 2.2, so that the gap is actually pretty consistent. Both drivers are driving very, very consistent here. So go back with Silver through the final corner. Corner is 14 and this is 15, that slide corner to the right. It's not really a corner, but it does count as a corner on the track map.
Yeah.
So back with Daisenio then. Go ahead, Hamish.
Oh, it looks like, talking about fastest laps there, Onage, it looks like Daisenia is just set almost exactly the same lap as Chaz, so, or Chaz, I mean
Silver.
so, it's good to see him making up pace, and oh dear, he's just got spam, he's hit Zephyr. I don't know if Zephyr's
Someone just
gone
go.
off, so we'll have
Big
to
boys.
find out who's close to Zephyr, but anyway, you're talking about Peter and the gap being 2.2, let's see what it is now, it's still 2.2. So if I was Peter, I'd be thinking about an undercut, I think, now, trying to pit one or two laps earlier, and hope his tyres can last a stint. Anyway, on board now with Daisenia, he's behind MP Racing, 2.9 seconds behind, and Sorberto's only 0.8 seconds behind. And then we skip now to lap 18, he's behind Kiku in 10th place. So let's see if he can catch up, or he's already caught up, but let's see if he can overtake in the DRS zone after turn 9.
Kiku still on the prime tyre, or is he pitted? I'm not sure if he's... I'm sure he's pitted now.
He must have pitted, yeah.
Unless he's got some miracle setup to do that amount of laps on those tyres, but...
Yeah, I mean, even Silver's pitting now, and he pitted onto the prime tyres, so...
Yeah, let's kick back. This battle's going to get interesting. Hopefully it's clean. Silver still gets out in first. This is displacing Kiku, it seems. Well, he's still side by side, it seems, into this corner. There's a little bit of a lock-up, clean going through. I think, who's that, Ardos losing places?
No, it's Hamish.
Hamish losing places there. You won't be happy about that, but just got nudged out there, unfortunately. That gap has come down though, was between Silver and Peter. 1.8 there. Fresh tyres, new prime stint.
Yeah, very interesting actually. Last couple of laps, 1.6 now, so Peter's on the charge, and it seems like Peter has right now the 2 tenths quicker. He is 2 tenths quicker with fast lap as well, so we might see an interesting battle here in the final couple of laps between the leaders. Meanwhile, Daisenia is still trying to catch up to Zephyr after that mistake. Well, not really a mistake, but we've seen so many incidents though with the curbs, and what is the right way to approach these curves? Well, I don't think there is a right way to approach these curves. Just stay off them, I guess is the only solution, because once you're on them, it's so easy to spin out, and there's no way you're gonna correct that. 1.1 meanwhile they kept Peter, so we might indeed have a very interesting battle here once Peter gets into DRS range as well, and that's gonna, well, definitely be interesting.
Yeah, haven't been on board with Peck. However, he's now 8 seconds behind 13th place, so I'll be very surprised to see if Peck gets any points. Anyway, on board now with Daisenia, he's just 0.7 behind Zephyr. It seems like almost after the first 5 laps, the grid has almost stayed exactly the same as how it was really after 5 laps. Still lots of action, but not much moving about of places. Anyway, it looks like Zephyr's got DRS, so that means Daisenia's not going to close in on him down the straight. He's looking for exit speed, which he's got, or at least I thought he had, which he hasn't. It looks like Zephyr also got a very good exit there. So it'll be interesting to see. Sort of, I mean, it's a battle from got 7th, 6th, 5th, and 4th now. So you know, from 4th to 7th, we've got a battle going on now. So it'll be interesting to see where these drivers finish after, or when the race is finished.
Sorry to interrupt you, but is that Chaz in 4th position then?
Well, I think if it's a Williams, you are. Yes, it is. So Chaz is now in 4th. So now we may even see Chaz getting up into the podium positions. So yes, you're right, it is.
I see the senior there backing out from trying to go. Maybe should have shown me a little bit of interest on the inside. Maybe try and scare Zephyr a little bit. Obviously, Zephyr an experienced racer, but still, when the race is on, nerves get to you. On a track where the curbs can punish you, you never know. Is this gap? Was it a swamp? You know, it's still
yes,
very
DRS
close. It's got DRS now, so it's going to be interesting the last few laps with those two. And again, it's just having some moments with those curbs, taking them a little bit too much. He needs to stay off them, otherwise he's going to get punished.
And
Does he finally? Yes. Finally
Easy
gets
overtake.
Zephyr there. If he got it under braking, he's very controlled. Zephyr there looking for the undercut on the corner. No, he doesn't get it. As Chaz there setting the fastest lap time, and he's going to storm. Looks to storm through the field now. F1 LS monster there. A good 7 seconds off the pace, so he's not going to challenge the two leaders up in front, but definitely going to come under threat from Chaz. We'll have to see what the gap is from Chaz to him. But the last few laps look tasty between the first two races. Pet comes into pit, checking out his race director, it looks.
Looks like DH has lost a load of places. He's down in 11th.
Yeah, but what was it? Third on the grid he started there, so he's lost 10 places in the last race winner. He's not looking good for this race, so be lucky to hold on to points at this rate. Desinia then looking to get past MP Racing. Hold that gap.
Oh, look at this. Peter's pretty close now. If he can close up with DRS, then he might have a chance to overtake Silver maybe in the second DRS, or maybe use the second DRS as well to close up even more. The gap is now 8 tenths as they enter lap 24. And Peter actually did this lap his personal fastest lap, so good stuff from him, as he is indeed quite close to Silver now, although it does look like Silver has a pretty decent straight line speed. Don't know if he used a little bit of curse off the line, but it's definitely not looking too bad for Silver in terms of straight line speed. So as the drivers round up the first sector, we get a gap of what is it, half a second now. So there we go. The fire is on really. Peter here has to try to overtake Silver, maybe use that second DRS and then to try to close up even more and then overtake him again on the start-finish straight.
Yeah, like you were saying, using the two DRS zones, unless you get a relatively bad exit off turn 9, the second DRS zone really is only to close in, because you don't want to overtake a driver coming into turn 10, apart from it being quite risky. Also, you're almost, it's quite likely that they're just going to overtake you again down the start-finish straight. On board with Peter anyway, and it's just 0.6, so it's fairly consistent now. He's going to get DRS, and it'll be interesting to see if he closes in on Silver.
Again, this midfield battle and battle for the first and second is heating up now for the last 5 laps of this race. What's the gap? Is it still? So Silver's got away a little bit. It seems though he's using curves on this straight, so I don't know if Peter's going to have to change his use of curves through the track. That's where I'm using it. Out of that, before the DRS straight, so he's going to have to change his curves use to try and catch it up a little bit. As he's, I say that, he's literally on his gearbox here in the wind mirrors.
It's like pushing him around the track.
Yeah, Silver got slightly wide in the first corner, and Peter had a beautiful exit, so that's why he's suddenly so close as they enter now then almost the second DRS zone. Peter falling back slightly for the previous couple of corners, maybe because of dirty air. So here we go, corners 9 and 10. Braking for the corners, Silver Arrow gets it fairly right there. Got a little bit wide on the apex, but not too bad. So Peter here having DRS, then saving half of his curves in order to attack him later on in the lap, as DH does a 130.7, so a pretty decent time there. And here we go, ooh, a bit on the curve, almost lost it there. Good save though by Peter.
Yeah, like you said, Onage, very good time there, 30.7. A lot of drivers won't be able to set that in qualifying, let alone the race. So I think DH he's had a pretty horrid race. So he just wants to get a point now. Anyway, we're not going to worry too much about that, because we've got Peter and Silver. Is Peter going to overtake Silver? I have a feeling he probably is. He's not using curves at the moment, and nor is Silver. And is he going to outbrake him into turn 1? And and there we go. Peter's got P1. Silver's got a better exit, only slightly though. And I don't think he's going to overtake Peter now to turn 3 or 4, or whatever this is.
4.
4. Peter had a pretty good defensive line on that corner there, but he's just got to run wide a little bit, and Silver just doesn't have the room there to overtake him. So Peter's got P1 as we turn down turn 8. Right, both nicely a little bit That bit of oversteer for Silver. So might want to back off a little bit just for this corner for the dirty air. Doesn't want to lose his position. Wants to stay nice and close. Back on the power DRS now. But this race is going to be interesting. This battle is going to continue right till the end unless one of these drivers pulls out immense pace to get away from each other, because they are neck and neck at the moment. You can't really call this yet. It's going to come right to the wire, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think definitely Silver Arrow is keeping up with use of that DRS every time. So he is again about 3/10 back as they just crossed the DRS detection line, and coming up to the DRS activation. Silver about 35% of his curse using that, and Peter has nothing to defend with at the moment. He used curse off the line and trying to defend his position. Silver Arrow saves his curse at the moment as they rev out coming into the first corner. Silver yet too far back, but have a look at Chess though in 4th position, 2 seconds away from Monster now in 3rd position, so you might see an interesting battle as well between Monster and Chess, but I think definitely the focus is on the battle here by the leaders.
Yeah, for sure. Also, Nidge, what would you do if you're in this situation? You're in second, behind the leader. Do you save your curse and try and use it on the exit of DRS straight and hope that you get curse then? Or do you try and get it on the lap when you've just refilled and you've got a full curse bar? What would you do in that situation?
Well, if they just crossed the line, I would still save it if I was in Silver's position, and I would even save it in the second DRS zone, so after turn 10, just save all of it and then use DRS to close down slightly, and just deploy all of your curse in the final sector. I think that's your best bet, but that's my opinion.
Okay, on board with Peck, we're just sort of getting a glimpse. We haven't really been looking too much on Peck because we've got this fantastic battle for the lead, and it looks like they're getting 2 different times on Peter. Is about Silver is a tenth closer to Peter than Silver is to Peter on their screens, but anyway, that doesn't matter. We've got 2 laps left, and I don't know, I can't call who's going to win this.
I tell you one thing that's going to be interesting is the fact it seems that Peter is using a little bit of his fuel, and he might have to do some fuel saving at the end. So again, it's another factor that could come into this. You know, he's going to try and use his fuel to get away from Silver with Rich Mix 3, but I mean, he's going to have to do some fuel saving as well to make sure he does end the race. And again, it's just too close to call. Lap 28, the gap is I can't see. Change to Peck down to 14th.
Also back marker there as well. I think it's Artos.
Yeah, I think you're right as well. He was the only driver who got lapped, I think, or who is going to get lapped anyway.
Interesting to see that Artos is 20 seconds behind Peck, and Peck has had a horrible race himself. As we see there, Artos there getting lapped. I mean, that's not good to see Peck, Artos 20 seconds behind in last position there. Seriously off the pace.
Of course, he was a win in Brazil, wasn't he, last season?
Yeah, so interesting to see. Chaz, is that Chaz and Monster there, I think, fighting? So I think that gap's been just almost in DRS zone, so I would have called Chaz to get back that position in 3rd, so that'd be a good result, seeing as he had a terrible start to his race.
Watch this, now we enter the final lap of the race. I noticed that Silver Arrow had half a bar of curse remaining, while Peter had already used everything coming into the 3rd sector. Here we go, Silver Arrow using the slipstream, but he's just revving out already. But still, he's going to have a slight look there on the inside, trying to make Peter nervous, but it doesn't really make Peter nervous, although he ran slightly wide on the exit, but Silver himself didn't have a great exit either, and definitely Silver actually lost quite a bit of time there on the exit. So, is this going to be the final chance then, or was that the final chance for Silver to pass him? I think he's still with him on 2nd though. Yes, he is indeed, 7/10 now. Meanwhile, behind, where's Chess? I'm not sure where Chess is at the moment.
Chess and Monster are so close to each other, you can't actually see, it looks like one dot because they're that close to each other.
Good point. Yeah, good point.
Anyway, on board with Peter now, and let's see, if Silver doesn't pass Peter now, it's going to be so unlikely that he's going to get the win, and it looks like I mean, I bet now that Peter has, yeah, I just bet now that Peter's probably won the race, and we see.
Well, I
this
don't
is-
know. I don't know. Peter has used all of his cars. Silver had still half a bar remaining.
So there,
Okay.
Chaz, it seems, Chaz has got past Monster there, so he's up into third. Oh, Silver's making a move on the last corner.
Last corner,
side by
last
side.
lap, and
Very, very clean. They're going around the last corner. Oh, it's a race to the finish.
and
The thing is,
who's going to
Dynasty,
win?
please
It's
fuck off.
Peter, Silver. Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure. I couldn't
Silver
figure
takes the win.
Silver.
Ah, there we go.
Wow.
Wow.
I
But
saw
there
that,
must
that
have
was
been
cool.
thousands in the
Last
thousands. It'll be interesting to see what it actually comes up as at the end of the race. As we see Peck is, are we going to see a silver type overtake on Tarkin? No, we're not. He's too slow. Poor Peck.
Just didn't have the exit speed, and there's just no cars there to help him. So, but that was a very interesting end to that race.
Very close race. We're going to go on to the race results now, as we see Silver 8 thousandths ahead of Peter, who is a reserve driver, but a good drive from both those drivers. And we see Chaz, he was only 2 seconds, no, not even 2 seconds, he's 1 second ahead of F1 LS Monster, or Thomas. In fifth we have Dysania, the other reserve driver. Again, he was only 2/10 behind Monster, so we've seen some very close racing here. Then in sixth we've got Zephyr, MP Racing, Sorberto, Mateus, Hamish, DH1806 outside the points. That's not a good race for Caterham. 11th and last is very unfortunate for them. Anyway, we have Silver's teammate Kiku, Tarkin, Pep and Artos bring up the rear. DH also getting the fastest lap with a 1:30.7. Beyond, if you want to take us through the Drivers' Championship.
So we see there that Silver there moving up. This seems, I don't know how many places, but Zomaka and DH1806 has been pushed down. So Silver there looking 10 points behind Chaz, who was in first. Chaz gets some solid points there in third on what could have been a good win from pole, but as we go down, there's not much change in apart from Kiku there going down, as well as MP Racing gets some good points, and it's looking quite tasty there. You know, I mean, the top 7 there, well, the top 8, I think they could change around pretty easily with a few decent results, and it's going to get interesting towards the middle of the season, and certainly towards the end.
Yeah, as we now take a quick look at the Constructors' Championship, not too much has changed apart from Ferrari with Silver's win have overtaken Toro Rosso, so that's a good job from them. And we have Caterham in first, Williams in second. I think Peck's only got 1 point towards Williams, however Peck does have some very good pace. It's just I don't think he likes these first of 5 tracks, so it'll be interesting to see when he can start closing in. I reckon Peck's going to be a strong midfield runner towards the end of the season. And in fifth we have Red Bull, McLaren, Mercedes moving up from Mercedes. In eighth we have Sauber, Ferrari. Want to thank Beyond and Onage. Onage, what did you think of this Split 2 race? Quite different to your Split 1 races. The pace isn't quite as fast, but I think you'll agree, but you saw some good racing anyway.
Yeah, the battling was awesome. Also, coming on MP Racing, who was quite invisible actually during this race, but yet managed to pick up 7th place, which probably will be important for him. But that finish was really awesome. I said it in the final lap that Silver Arrow he made a slight mistake on the exit of turn 1. I think it's I'm very impressed that he had managed to win that, because I didn't expect that coming into the final lap. So Silver Arrow doing a good job there, but as I said as well, he did save about 50% of his cars for the final sector. Meanwhile, Peter used all of his cars already, so I think that's a slight mistake from Peter, if I'm honest. I think Peter just didn't think that that Silver was able to overtake him in the final sector, because the DRS DRS activation time is just so short when you cross the line. But Silver Arrow doing an awesome job there. I think he deployed his curse out of the turn 13, so great job there, and then that finish was really awesome. So good drive from everyone, really. I think Chess will be slightly disappointed with that third place after he obviously was leading. But I think I'm impressed as well by Chess that he still ended up in third position, and obviously he managed to overtake Monster as well in that final lap. So that's it.
Yep. Thank you, Onage. Thank you, Beyond. It's been a pleasure being able to commentate alongside you two. Anyway, we're not going to be covering the Spanish Grand Prix, but we will be covering the Monaco Grand Prix. So a track as short as Monaco, we should see drivers within touching distance of each other. And of course the barriers. Anyway, thank you, Beyond. Thank you, Onage. We'll see you next time from Monaco. Goodbye.